Omkara. Therefore, the Shastras have recommended the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Omkara is a mantra or Mahamantra, and Hare Krishna is also a Mahamantra. The purpose of pronouncing Omkara is to address the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And the purpose of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is the same. Hare, O energy of the Lord. Krishna, O Lord Krishna. Hare, O energy of the Lord. Rama, O Supreme Lord. O Supreme Enjoyer. The only worshipper, the only worshipable Lord is Hari, who is the goal of the Vedas. Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya. By worshipping the demigods, one worships the different parts of the Lord, just as one might water the branches and twigs of a tree. But worshipping Narayana, the all-inclusive Supreme Personality of Godhead, is like pouring water on the root of the tree, thus supplying water to the trunk, branches, twigs, leaves, and so on. In Satya Yuga, people knew how to fulfill the necessities of life simply by worshiping Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The same purpose can be served in this age of Kali by chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra as recommended in the Brahma and the Bhagavatam. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one becomes free from the bondage of material existence and thus becomes eligible to return home back to Godhead. Well, that is very good news. Text 49. O Maharaj Parikshit, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, King Pururava inaugurated a karma kanda sacrifice. Thus, Pururava, who considered the yajnik fire his son, was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. In Satya Yuga, Lord Narayana was worshipped by meditation. Krite yad dhyayato Vishnu. Indeed, everyone always meditated upon Lord Vishnu, Narayana, and achieved every success by this process of meditation. In the next Yuga, Treta Yuga, the performance of Yajna began. Tretayam Yajato Mukai. Therefore, this verse says, Trai Treta Mukai. Ritualistic ceremonies are generally called the fruitive activities. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur says that in the Treta Veda, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that in Treta Yuga, beginning in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, ritualistic fruitive activities were similarly manifested from Priyavata, etc. Thus then, the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Pururava enchanted by Urvasi. Okay. Now we're going to chapter 15. Parasurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. This chapter describes the history of Gadi in the dynasty of Aila. From the womb of Urvasi came 6 sons named Ayu, Shrutaya, Satyayu, Raya, Jaya, and Vijaya. The sons of Shrutaya was Vasuman. The son of Satyayu was Shrutanjaya. The son of Raya was Eka. The son of Jaya was Amita. And the son of Vijaya was Bhima. Bhima's son was named Kanchana. The son of Kanchana was Hotakra. And the son of Hotakra was Janu, who was celebrated for having drunk all the water of the Ganges in one sip. The descendants of Janu, one after another, were Puru, Balaka, Ajaka, and Kusha. The sons of Kusha were Kusambu, Tanaya, Vasu, Kusanaba. From Kusambu came Gadi, who had a daughter named Satyavati. Satyavati married Richika Muni. After the Muni contributed a substantial dowry, and from the womb of Satyavati by Richika Muni, Janmadagni was born. The son of Janmadagni was Rama, or Parasurama. When a king named Kartavirya Kartavirarjuna, stole Janmadagni's desire cow, Parasurama, who is ascertained by learned experts to be a Shaktavisha incarnation of the Supreme Personality Godhead, killed Kartavirarjuna. Later, he annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty 21 times. After Parasurama killed Kartavirarjuna, Janmadagni told him that killing a king is sinful and that as a Brahmana he should have tolerated the offense. Therefore, Janmadagni advised Parasurama to atone for his sin by traveling to various holy places. Mm-hmm. Text number 1. So now we're on chapter 15, Parasurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. Sukadev goes, let's see here. Sukadeva Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, from the womb of Urvasi, 6 sons were generated by Pururava. Their names were Ayu, Shrutayu, Satyayu, Raya, Vijaya, and Jaya. Text 2 and 3. The son of Shrutaya was Vasuman. The son of Satyaya was Shrutanjaya. The son of Raya, Eka. The son of Jaya, Amita. And the son of Vijaya, Bhima. The son of Bhima was Kanchana. And the son of Kanchana was Hotraka. And the son of Hotraka was Janu, who drank all the water of the Ganges in one sip. Wow. Text number 4. The son of Janu was Puru. The son of Puru was Balaka. The son of Balaka was Ajaka. And the son of Ajaka was Kushu. Kushu had 4 sons, named Kusambu, Tanaya, Vasu, Kusanava. The son of Kusambu was Gadi. Text 5 and 6. King Gadi had a daughter named Satyavati, whom a Brahmana sage named Richika requested from the king to be his wife. King Gadi, however, regarded Richika as an unfit husband for his daughter, and therefore he told the Brahmana, "My dear sir, I belong to the dynasty of Kusha. Because we are aristocratic Kshatriyas, you have to give some dowry for my daughter. Therefore, bring at least 1,000 horses, each as brilliant as the moonshine, and each having one black ear." Wow. Whether right or left. Purport. The son of King Gadi was Vishwamitra, who was said to be a Brahmana and Kshatriya combined. Wow. Vishwamitra attained the status of a Brahmarshi, as explained later. From the marriage of Satyavati with Richika Muni would come a son with the spirit of a Kshatriya. King Gadi demanded that an uncommon request be fulfilled before the Brahmana Richika could marry his daughter. Okay, let's find out what that's going to be. Text number 7. When King Gadi made this demand, the great sage Richika could understand the king's mind. Therefore, he went to the demigod Varuna and brought from him the 1,000 horses that Gadi had demanded. After delivering these horses, the sage married the king's beautiful daughter. Text number 8. Thereafter, Richika Muni's wife and mother-in-law, each desiring a son, requested the Muni to prepare an oblation. Thus, Richika Muni prepared one oblation for his wife with a Brahmana mantra and another for his mother-in-law with a Kshatriya mantra. Then he went out to bathe. Text number 9. Meanwhile, because Satyavati's mother thought that the oblation prepared for her daughter Richika's wife, must be better, she asked her daughter for that oblation. Satyavati therefore gave her own oblation to her mother and ate her mother's oblation herself. Let's see where that's going to lead to. Purport. A husband naturally has some affection for his wife. Well, that makes sense. Therefore, Satyavati's mother thought that the oblation prepared for Satyavati by the sage Richika must have been better than her own oblation. In Richika's absence, the mother took the better oblation from Satyavati and ate it. Text number 10. When the great sage Richika returned home after bathing and understood what had happened in his absence, he said to his wife, Satyavati, you have done a great wrong. Your son will be a fierce Kshatriya, able to punish everyone, and your brother will be a learned scholar in the spiritual science. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A Brahmana is highly qualified when he can control his senses and mind, when he has a learned scholar, when he is a learned scholar in spiritual science, and when he is tolerant and forgiving. Oh, well, that's very nice. A Kshatriya, however, is highly qualified when he is fierce and giving punishment to wrongdoers. These qualities are stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.42-43. Because Satyavati, instead of eating her own oblation, had eaten that which was meant for her mother, she would give birth to a son imbued with the Kshatriya spirit. This was undesirable. The son of a Brahmana is generally expected to become a Brahmana. But if such a son becomes fierce, like a Kshatriya, he is designated according to the description of the four Varnas in Bhagavad Gita. Chaturanyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasa. If the son of a Brahmana does not become like a Brahmana, he may be called a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, according to his qualifications. The principle for dividing society is not a person's birth, but his qualities and actions. Okay, well, that's correct. We don't judge people by their birth, but by their qualities and actions. Text 11. Satyavati, however, pacified Richika Muni with peaceful words and requested that her son not be like a fierce Kshatriya. Richika Muni replied, then your grandson will be of a Kshatriya spirit. Thus Janmadagni was born as the son of Satyavati. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Richika was very angry, but somehow or other Satyavati pacified him. And at her request, he changed his mind. It is indicated here that the son of Janmadagni would be born as Parashuram. Text 12 and 13. Satyavati later became the sacred river Kaushiki to purify the entire world, and her son Janmadagni married Renuka, the daughter of Renu. By the semen of Janmadagni, many sons headed by Vasuma, many sons headed by Vasuman were born from the womb of Renuka. The youngest of them was named Rama, or Parasurama. Text 14. Learned scholars accept this Parasurama as the celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva, who annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. Parasurama killed all the Kshatriyas on earth 21 times. Text number 15. When the royal dynasty, being excessively proud, because of the material modes of passion and ignorance, became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas, Parasurama killed them. Although their offense was not very severe, he killed them to lessen the burden of the world. Okay. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta. The Kshatriyas, or the ruling class, must govern the world in accordance with the rules and regulations enacted by great Brahmanas and saintly persons. As soon as the ruling class becomes irresponsible in regard to the religious principles, it becomes a burden on the earth. As stated here, Rajas Tamu Ritam Braran Abramanyam. When the ruling class is influenced by the lower modes of nature, namely ignorance and passion, it becomes a burden to the world and must then be annihilated by superior power. Okay. We actually see from modern history that monarchies have been abolished by various revolutions. But unfortunately, the monarchies have been abolished to establish the supremacy of the third class and fourth class men. Although monarchies, overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance, have been abolished in the world, the inhabitants of the world are still unhappy. For although the qualities of the former monarchs were degraded by taints of ignorance, these monarchs have been replaced by men of the mercantile and worker classes, guided by brahmanas or God-conscious men. Then there can be real happiness for the people. Therefore, in previous times, when the ruling class was degraded to the modes of passion and ignorance, the brahmanas, headed by such a Kshatriya, spirited brahmana as Parasurama, killed them 21 consecutive times. In Kali Yuga, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.2.13, Dasyu pra Yesu Rajasu, the ruling class, Rajanya, will be no better than the plunderers, Dasus, because the third class and fourth class men will monopolize the affairs of the government, ignoring the religious principles and Brahminical rules and regulations. They will certainly try to plunder the riches of the citizens without consideration, as stated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.1.40, Asam Skrita kriya uh, kriya hina, rajasa tamasavrita, prajaste bhaksayisyanti, malacha rajanya rupina. Being unpurified, neglecting to discharge the human duties properly, and being influenced by the modes of passion, excuse me, by the modes of passion or rajas, and ignorance, tamas, unclean people or malechas, posing as members of the government, Rajanya Rupina, will swallow the citizens, Prajaste Vaksayisyanti, and instill another place, uh, Shrimad Bhagavatam 12.2.7-8, and instill another place, Shrimad Bhagavatam 12.2.7-8 says, Evam Prajabhir Dustabhir Akirne Kshiti Mandale Brahmavit Shatra Sudranam Yo Bali Bhavita Ripa Praja Hi Lub Dai Ranjanyar Nirgrin Dasu Dharmabi Achinna Daradravina Yashanti Giri Kananam. Human society is naturally grouped into 4 divisions, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturanya Maya System Guna Karma Vibhagasa. But if this system is neglected and the qualities and divisions of society are not considered, the result will be Brahma Vit Kshatra Sudranam Yo Bali Bhavita Ripa. The so-called caste system of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras will be meaningless. As a result, whoever somehow or other becomes powerful will be the king or president. And thus, prajas, or citizens, will be so harassed that they will give up hearth and home and will go to the forest. Yashanti Giri Kananam, to escape harassment by government officials who have no mercy and are addicted to the waves of plunderers. Therefore, prajas, or the people in general, must take to the Krishna consciousness movement, the Hare Krishna movement, which is the sound incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kali Kali Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has now appeared as an incarnation by his holy name. Therefore, when the prajas become Krishna conscious, they can then expect a good government and good society, a perfect life, and liberation from the bondage of material existence. Oh, that's wonderful. Text 16. Sri Rajavacha Kim Tat Ho Bhagavato Rajanyar Ajitat Mabi Kritam Yena Kulam Nastam Kshatriyanam Abhikshanasa. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, what was the offense that the Kshatriyas who could not control their senses committed before Lord Parasuram, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for which the Lord annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty again and again. Text number 17 to 19. Sukadeva Goswami said, the best of the Kshatriyas, Kartavirya, the king of the Harivilas, received 1,000 arms by worshipping Dattatreya, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, so he has 1,000 arms. That's exciting. The plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. He also became undefeatable by enemies and received unobstructed sensory power, beauty, influence, strength, fame, and the mystic power by which to achieve all perfections of yoga, such as anima and lagima. Thus, having become fully opulent, he roamed all over the universe without opposition, just like the wind. Text 20. Once, while enjoying in the water of the river Narmada, the puffed up Kartavirya, surrounded by beautiful women and garlanded with a garland of victory, stopped the flow of the water with his arms. Text 21. Because Kartavirya made the water flow in the opposite direction, the camp of Ravana, which was set up on the bank of the Narmada near the city of Mahismati, was inundated. This was unbearable to the 10-headed Ravana, who considered himself a great hero and could not tolerate Kartavirya's power. Okay, here we go. Purport. Ravana was out touring to gain victory over all other countries, Digvijaya, and he had camped on the bank of the Narmada River near the city of Mahismati. Text 22. When Ravana attempted to insult Kartavirya in the presence of the women and thus offended the men, Kartavirya easily arrested Ravana and put him in custody in the city of Mahismati, just as one captures a monkey and then releases him neglectfully. Text 23. Once, while Kartavirya was wandering unengaged in a solitary forest and hunting, he approached the residence of Janmadagni. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Kartavirya had no business going to the residence of Janmadagni, but because he was puffed up by his extraordinary power, he went there and offended Parasuram. Oh, don't do that. It's a mistake. This was the prelude to his being killed by Parasurama for his offensive act. Oh, there it is. Text 24. The sage Jamadagni, who was engaged in great austerities in the forest, received the king very well, along with the king's soldiers, ministers, and carriers. He supplied all the necessities to worship these guests, for he possessed a common Danu cow that was able to supply everything. I think they're going to steal the cow. Purport. The Brahma Samhita informs us that the spiritual world, and especially the planet Goloka Vrindavana, where Krishna lives, is full of Surabhi cows. Surabhir Abhipagyantam. The Surabhi cow is also called Kamandenu. Although Janmadagni possessed only one Kamadenu, he was able to get from it everything desirable. Thus, he was able to receive the king, along with the king's great number of followers, ministers, soldiers, animals, and palanquin carriers. When we speak of a king, we understand that he is accompanied by many followers. Janmadagni was able to receive all the king's followers properly and fed them sumptuously with food prepared in ghee. The king was astonished at how opulent Janmadagni was because of possessing only one cow, and therefore he became envious of the great sage. This was the beginning of his offense. Parasurama, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, killed Kartavirarjuna because Kartavirarjuna was too proud. One may possess unusual opulence in this material world, but if one becomes puffed up by the acts whimsically, but if one becomes puffed up and acts whimsically, he will be punished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the lesson to learn from this history, in which Parasurama became angry at Kartavirarjuna and killed him, and rid the entire world of Kshatriyas 21 times. Wow. You have to watch out. Don't be puffed up. Think that we are greater than anyone else. That's what it says. The king was astonished at how opulent Janmadagni was because of possessing only one cow, and therefore he became envious of the great sage. This was the beginning of his offense. Parasurama, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, killed Kartavirarjuna because Kartavirarjuna was too proud. One may possess unusual opulence in this material world, but if one becomes puffed up and acts whimsically, he will be punished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the lesson to learn from this history, in which Parasurama became angry at Kartavirarjuna and killed him, and rid the entire world of Kshatriyas 21 times. Wow. Text 25. Kartavirarjuna thought that Janmadagni was more powerful and wealthy than himself because of possessing a jewel in the form of the Kamandenu. Therefore, he and his own men, the Harivilas, were not very much appreciative of Janmadagni's reception. On the contrary, they wanted to possess the Kamandenu, which was useful for the execution of the Agnihotra sacrifice. Okay. Purport. Janmadagni was more powerful than Kartavirarjuna because of performing the Agnihotra yajna with clarified butter received from the Kamandenu. Not everyone can be expected to possess such a cow. Nonetheless, an ordinary man may possess an ordinary cow, give protection to this animal, take sufficient milk from it, and engage the milk to produce butter and clarified ghee, especially for performing the Agni Hotra Yajna. This advises this is possible for everyone. Thus, we find that in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advises Go Rakshya, the protection of cows. This is essential because if cows are cared for properly, they will surely supply sufficient milk. We have practical experience in America that in our various ISKCON farms, we are giving proper protection to the cows and receiving more than enough milk. In other farms, the cows do not deliver as much milk as our farms because our cows know very well that we are not going to kill them. They are happy and they give ample milk. Therefore, this instruction given by Lord Krishna, Go Rakshya, is extremely meaningful. The whole world must learn from Krishna how to live happily without scarcity simply by producing food grains, anad bhavanti bhutani, and giving proper protection to the cows. Go Rakshya. Krishi Go Raksha Vachinam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. Those who belong to the third level of human society, namely the mercantile people, must keep land for producing food grains and giving protection to cows. This is the injunction of Bhagavad Gita. In the matter of in the matter of protecting the cows, the meat eaters will protest. But in answer to them, we may say that since Krishna gives stress to cow protection, those who are inclined to eat meat may eat the flesh of unimportant animals like hogs, dogs, goats, and sheep. But they should not touch the life of the cows, for this is destructive to the spiritual advancement of human society. Text 26. Being puffed up by material power, Kartavirarjuna encouraged his men to steal Janmadagni's Kamadenu. Thus the men forcibly took away the crying Kamadenu along with her calf to Mahishmati, Kartavirarjuna's capital. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Havir Danim is significant in this verse. Havir Danim refers to a cow required for supplying havis or ghee for the performance of ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. In human life, one should be trained to perform yajnas. As we are informed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we do not perform yajnas, we shall simply work very hard for sense gratification, like dogs and hogs. This is not civilization. A human being should be trained to perform yajna. It's not bhakti parjanya. If yajnas are regularly performed, there will be proper rain from the sky, and when there is regular rainfall, the land will be fertile and suitable for producing all the necessities of life. Yajna, therefore, is essential. For performing yajna, clarified butter is essential. And for clarified butter, cow protection is essential. Therefore, if we neglect the Vedic way of civilization, excuse me, we shall certainly suffer. So-called scholars and philosophers do not know the secret of success in life, and therefore they suffer in the hands of Prakriti, nature. Prakriti kiryamanani gunai karmani sarvasa. Nonetheless, although they are forced to suffer, they think they are advancing in civilization. Ahankara vimudatma pratamam iti manyate. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore meant to revive a mode of civilization in which everyone will be happy. This is the motive of our Krishna consciousness movement. Yajne Sukhena Bhavantu. Sorry. Text 27. Thereafter, Kartika Arjuna, having left with the Kamadena, Parasurama returned to the ashrama. When Parasurama, the youngest son of Janmadavi, heard about Kartika Arjuna's nefarious deed, he kidnapped the cow, he became as angry as a trampled snake. Oh my God. That's dangerous. Text 28. Taking up his fierce chopper, his shield, his bow, and a quiver of arrows, Lord Parasurama, exceedingly angry, chastised Kartavirarjuna just as a lion chases an elephant. Wow. Text 29. As King Kartavirarjuna entered his capital, Mahismatipuri, he saw Lord Parasurama, the best of the Bhrigu dynasty, coming after him, holding a chopper, shield, bow, and arrows. Lord Parasurama was covered with a black deerskin, and his matted locks of hair appeared like the sunshine. Text 30. Text 30. Upon seeing Parasurama, Kartavirarjuna immediately feared him and sent many elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry soldiers equipped with clubs, swords, arrows, ristis, satagnes, shaktis, and many similar weapons to fight against him. Kartavirarjuna sent 17 full akshohines of soldiers to check Parasuram, but Parasuram alone killed all of them. The word akshohini refers to a military phalanx consisting of 21,870 chariots and elephants, 109,300 infantry soldiers, and 65,610 horses. An exact description is given in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, 2nd chapter, as follows. One chariot, one elephant, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses are called a pati, P-A-T-T-I, by those who are learned in this science. The wise also know that a sena mukha, or 3 times what a pati is. 3 Sinamukas are known as 1 Gulma. 3 Gulmas are called a Gana, and 3 Ganas are called a Vahina. 3 Vahinas have been referred to by the learned as a Pritana, where 3 Pratanas equal 1 camel, and 3 camels equal 1 Anikini. The wise refer to 10 Anikinis as 1 Akshahini. The chariots of an Akshahini have been calculated at 21,870 by those who know the science of such calculations. O best of the twice born, and the number of O best of the twice born, and the number of elephants. Okay. O best of the twice born, and the number of elephants is the same. The number of infantry soldiers is 109,350. And the number of horses is 65,610. This is called Akshahini. Text 31. Lord Parasurama, being expert in killing the military strength of the enemy, worked with the speed of the mind and the wind, slicing his enemies with his chopper. Wow. Parasu. Wherever he went, the enemies fell. Their legs, arms, and soldiers were being severed, their chariot drivers killed, and their carriers, the elephants and horses, all annihilated. Excuse me, purport. In the beginning, when the army of the enemy was full of fighting soldiers, elephants, and horses, Lord Parasurama proceeded into their midst at the speed of light to kill them. When somewhat tired, he slowed down to the speed of wind and continued to kill the enemies vigorously. The speed of light is greater than the speed of the wind. Text number 32. The speed of wind, where is this? The speed of mind is greater than the speed of the wind. Okay. By manipulating his axe and arrows, Lord Parasurama cut to pieces the shields, flags, bows, and bodies of Kartavirarjuna's soldiers who fell on the battlefield, muddying the ground with their blood. Seeing these reverses, Kartavirarjuna, infuriated, rushed to the battlefield. Text 33. Then Kartavirarjuna, with his 1,000 arms, simultaneously fixed arrows on 500 bows to kill Lord Parasurama. But Lord Parasurama, the best of fighters, released enough arrows with only 1 bow to cut to pieces immediately all the arrows and bows in the hands of Kartavirarjuna. Text 34. When his arrows were cut to pieces, Kartavirarjuna uprooted many trees and hills with his own hands and again rushed strongly toward Lord Parasurama to kill him. But Parasurama then used his axe with great force to cut off Kartavirarjuna's arms. just as one might lop off the hood of a serpent. Well, text 35 and 36. Thereafter, Parashurama cut off like a mountain peak the head of Kartavya Arjuna, who had already lost his arms. When Kartavya Arjuna's 10,000 sons saw their father killed, they all fled in fear. Then Parashurama, having killed the enemy, released the Kamandana, which had undergone great suffering, and brought it back with its calf to his residence, where he gave it to his father, Janmadad. You see how important cows are. Very important. The Kamandana is a special cow. Text 37. Parashurama described to his father and brothers his activities in killing Kartavya Arjuna. Upon hearing of these deeds, Janmadagni spoke to his son as follows. O great hero, my dear son Parashurama, you have unnecessarily killed the king, who was supposed to be the embodiment of all the demigods. Thus, you have committed a sin. Okay. Text 39. My dear son, we are all Brahmanas and have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved his post. Text 40. The duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is pleased with those who are forgiving. Very nice verse. I like this verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Different personalities become beautiful by possessing different qualities. Chanakya Pandita says that the cuckoo bird, although very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice. Similarly, a woman becomes beautiful by her chastity and faithfulness to her husband. And an ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. In the same way, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras become beautiful by their qualities. Brahmanas are beautiful when they are forgiving, Kshatriyas when they are heroic, and never retreat from fighting. Vaishyas when they enrich cultural activities and protect cows, and Sudras when they are faithful in the discharge of duties pleasing their masters. Thus, everyone becomes beautiful by his special qualities, and the special quality of the Brahmana, as described here, is forgiveness. Wow. Okay. Forgiveness is very important. Text 41. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is freed from all sin. One who fully surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead from all sins. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami. From the very day or moment he fully surrenders to Sri Krishna, even the most sinful person is freed. Nonetheless, as an example, Jamadagni advised his son Parashurama to worship the holy places, because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. He is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Parashurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So my dear devotees, we'll stop right there. If you have any questions or comments, you can make them right now. Okay, so our takeaway for today is one who fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is freed from all sins. Very profound statement. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami. From the very day or moment he fully surrenders to Sri Krishna, even a most sinful person is freed. Nonetheless, as an example, Janmadagni advised his son Parashurama to worship the holy places because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. That is our takeaway for today. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? So, another takeaway, very important takeaway, is thus everyone becomes beautiful by his special qualities. And the special quality of the Brahmana is described here as forgiveness. This is the special quality of the Brahmana. Forgiveness. That is a very profound statement. And therefore, if we meet Brahmanas who are not forgiving, that's a big problem. So then we can understand that they're not really Brahmanas. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear devotees. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
Yes, Maharaj, you talked about Krishna destroying or killing a person who is puffed up or has, and tries to destroy others with their material strength, just like Ravana did in his time. So,
Yeah.
in our modern world, most of the people who are rich or have some power are always puffed up. Um, would you agree with that? I mean, can you?
Yes. Not everyone, but yes. People who are very rich often become very puffed up. Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. But a devotee is a devotee because he's not puffed up. He's very merciful and does not have I mean, false uh, concepts of himself as being you know, some great personality. Therefore, it says all the Brahmanas have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved his post. So, this quality of forgiveness is very important, especially for a Brahmana. And because Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, uh, it is because, in other words, it says, uh, my dear son, we are all Brahmanas and have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved this post. So we have to learn the wonderful quality of forgiveness. Nasty people don't have this quality of forgiveness. Therefore, they cause havoc in society. But the duty of a Brahmana, as it says here, is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality Godhead Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. That is our takeaway for today. The Supreme Personality Godhead Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. Uh, we should meditate on this today. In fact, we should have a special uh, uh, special celebration. And what is the celebration about? It's the fact that the duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality Godhead Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. That is our takeaway for today, and we should meditate on this. It's extremely important. In other words, Krishna is very pleased with those who are forgiving. If you encounter uh, people who are not forgiving, you can understand that they are contaminated by self-aggrandizement, wanting to uh, wanting to be better than everyone else. But the duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality Godhead Hari is pleased with those who are forgiving. That is our takeaway for today and forever. We must learn to be forgiving. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you, my dear devotees. And we can meditate on this beautiful quality of forgiveness. It's very important if you want to have a spiritual life. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Have a very good day. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy.